I have 9 days left before I turn 18, and in a time of reflection, I've been thinking about some of the most important lessons I've learned throughout the past 10 or so years. This is just stuff I think everybody should live by and learn early so that they can enjoy their teenage years. The first thing that came to mind is that people aren't thinking about you as much as they think they are. I think a lot of people live with anxieties of people always worried that they look weird or out of place when they do something. But the matter of fact, everybody's thinking that. So if everybody's thinking about themselves, they don't have enough time to think about what you're wearing or what you're doing. And honestly, as harsh as it sounds, nobody cares about you. But that's honestly a freeing feeling, because if you mess up, they don't care about you. And it's honestly a freeing feeling. The second thing I've learned, this is something I learned over the past year, is that sleep is the best supplement you can take. I was in anatomy this past year, and we had a whole unit on sleep, and we read Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, and it changed my perspective on that. I've always gotten pretty decent sleep, especially during the school year. There's this part where he talks about if there was a free supplement that everyone could take that makes you better looking, more energetic, and just a better person, everyone would take it, and that supplement is sleep. The third thing I learned this mainly when I got into high school, is that no one's going to force you to do anything once you get to a certain age, which is a good thing or a bad thing. I think the good part of it is that it's freeing to have teachers off your back, your parents get off your back a little more, but it can be bad if you're not productive and are lazy. But I learned that mainly in high school, and it really did hurt me my freshman year when I jumped from middle school to high school with more homework and stuff. I just didn't feel well prepared, and I didn't get the best grades. One thing I'm still figuring out is something I know, but I always catch myself falling into this trap, is that comparison is the thief of joy. I know, mainly with sports, I think of people around me from other teams or even teammates that are better than me, and I'll compare myself. But most of the time, you're doing better than you think you are. And it's awesome to compare yourself to better people and try to get to that level, but I think it takes away from the whole point of a lot of stuff if you're always comparing yourself to people who are better than you. At the end of the day, some people have God-given talent that'll always be better than you, unfortunately. You can always try your hardest to work, but as long as you know you're doing your best, then there's not much more you can do. This next one I learned the hard way. It's that pressure kills passion. I used to play baseball, and I always felt really under pressure. If you play baseball, you probably know what I'm talking about. Just if you make an error, it can be such a big error, it could lose the whole game inevitably. And I just felt so much pressure for a while. I just stepped back one day and just realized it's really not fun anymore if you're always worried about messing up. And I used to love baseball. I'd play every day. I'd practice all the time, and I always just tried to be perfect. So much so that anytime I made a mistake, it would just kill my mood, and I couldn't stop thinking about it, and it became unhealthy. But I ended up quitting baseball just because I felt so much pressure all the time. And looking back, don't even thinking it was really existing pressure, because I just felt like I was going to lose my spot if I made some errors, because I worked really hard to get to a spot. And then once I was there, I just felt pressure all the time. This one's mainly for honestly 18 and above, but it's something I've realized. I feel like there's a lot of pressure when you get around 18 years old to know your career path and know what you're gonna do. But it's really stupid to think that a 17-year-old kid is gonna be able to map out the whole rest of their life. You have more time to know your path than you think you do, and to kind of just try and enjoy the moment of high school instead of thinking about the whole rest of your life. I think this next one depends on the person. I feel like stress and failure is a good thing. I think in my opinion, there's two different kinds of stress. And honestly, one of them is if you're stressing over little things that might not go right, and then the other is stressing over stuff you're gonna have to do, like work or a test or an appointment. But I think for me with schoolwork, it's honestly kind of like a fun kind of stress. Like, you need to really work at something. Another thing I've really been thinking about is the way I like gauge if something is a big deal or not is thinking about how long it's gonna really matter for, or how long it's gonna hold meaning to me. Because like, if you do something, it could feel really big in the moment, and then you won't even think about it daily in about 3 weeks. It just feels really minor in that moment. Like, if a pet dies or you get a bad grade on a test, it could really suck in the moment. But most of the time, unless it's something really major, it's not going to matter for more than 2 months. And even 2 months is probably extreme. And I mean, that's another reason. That's how you gauge. If it is something that will affect you the whole rest of your life, probably stay away from it. But that's just something I've been thinking about. Anytime I've got something major going on, I was just thinking most of the time it's going to work out. This next one is really important for mainly high schoolers. So for a long time, I was like really just worried about growing up. Like, I went through phases. My first year of high school, I just wanted to get out, go to college, get a job, and move on with life. And then sophomore year, like, I just had such a good year, I'd never wanted to end. And then, I mean, after sophomore year, you're 50% of the way done. It feels like you just started. But I think you just need to sit back and realize you worrying about high school being the best years of your life, once they're over, there'll be nothing to compare to it. If you worry too much about it, it's just going to take away from the fun. And time's never going to change speed no matter how much you want it to. And it's going to suck when it's over, but also I think you'd rather be upset when it's over, because you're going to be upset when it's over anyway. You would rather be upset when it's over than worry about it really sucking when it's over throughout all your 4 years and having nothing to look back on because you're just worrying the whole time. And so at the end of the day, you just shouldn't waste your years by trying to stop time from moving.